I retired from teaching when I was 58. My husband and I, Ben and I, had often discussed the idea of doing a book for the Am Haaretz. And I had a friend who wrote art books, and she said, I think my agent would be interested in this book. All right, I'll send him a summary. I did. I sent him a sample chapter, and he liked the whole idea very much, and he succeeded in selling the idea to Schocken Books. The editor said to me, "We got to give you some authoritarian background. What makes you an authority on this?" I said, "Well, how about if I write a column?" He said, "Well, if you can get a column, that would be good." And I knew someone at the Jewish Week, and my daughter knew him very well. So we went around to speak to him about this, and he said, "Good, we'll run a column, ask Helen Latner." By that time I was Helen Latner already. And I wrote that column for 12 years of the craziest kinds of queries. Mostly it was older people who wrote to me. I guess that's their audience, the Jewish Week, about things like, I've been invited to a wedding of my niece who was marrying someone who's not Jewish. I don't want to go to the wedding because I don't approve of this match. Do I have to send a wedding present? How do you answer that question? I got questions about, there were 2 nights of Passover. My wife's family always invites us for the first night, and my family for the second night, and my mother feels that she's being slighted because I ought to come to her for the first night sometime. I mean, it's Narishkeit. All sorts of things. To me, the most rewarding thing of all was once I had nothing else to write about. Somebody had written me a query about an idiomatic expression, Upgeton of Turkish. I had never heard this. Didn't have any idea what it meant. So I put it in a column. I said, "Anyone ever heard of this? What does it mean?" And I put a few other, ordinary expressions that are easily explained. And I got a couple of letters back saying that the Turks were reputed to be very, Ganevish, thieving merchants, that they were wicked people, that they could kill you for a rug, and so on. Well, I edited that down and I printed the reply. It means you got revenge on someone the way a Turk would. Well, I got a letter from the Turkish American Society complaining that I had libeled the Turks. I got a letter from the Turkish embassy, so I just published all the letters and let it go at that. But that idiom column produced so many other letters giving me different Yiddish idioms, some of which I had never heard before, that it was material for at least 3 other columns for me. And the interest in it was what amazed me. People really cared. They wanted to know. I lost one of my papers because of a column I wrote. It was being syndicated in 7 different cities, and Baltimore was one of my cities. So when it came time for Purim, I decided to write something different. I wrote a column called Score One for Vashti, and I brought up the fact that Vashti was probably the first feminist. She stood up for her right not to be displayed in the nude by her husband, and because of that she was beheaded, and she really was a heroine and should be respected as the original feminist. Well, I didn't know at that time that the paper in Baltimore had been taken over by a young rabbi, and he was offended by this column, and so he dropped his connection to the advice column.